Welcome! You're listening to the Leading Hope Podcast. My name is VJ Williams, here with my friend and pastor, Kevin Jack. Kevin Jack, so glad to be here with you. Thank you for joining us and taking time out of your day to become a better leader. If you're new, we release a new episode every Wednesday morning, and you can find us on YouTube or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and get that automatically delivered.
Podcast platform.
There we go. Delivered every Wednesday. Also, share this with a friend on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and rate and review on Apple Podcasts. I know we say that all the time, but it really does make a difference. All you have to do is just put a review in there and hit that rate button. It really does help get this in the hands of so many more leaders like you. Also, visit leadinghope.online to get updates. Find out more about the Leading Hope community. Kevin, we're finishing out the Elevated Leadership series today. It's the fourth installment. Today you've entitled this episode 126, Get Rid of It.
Get rid of it.
Get it out of here.
So in this series,
Put me in.
this series is the last part, and we've talked all about how to make the leap, how to make a jump, how to lead at a much higher level, not just a small improvement. And we've talked through, what was it? Episode 124 was on things that need to be improved and identifying those, because it's not everything at once. It's key factors with momentum. We talked last episode 125, on simplifying in order to clarify, that as less people are in the know, what is in the know needs to become less. Today, we're talking about what needs to be eliminated, what you need to get rid of. And the typical comment within this conversation is, do what only you can do. And that is helpful from a task-based focus, but it is much broader than that. And our idea behind this entire series is that in order to make the leap to a higher level is tricky. It's not simple. There's a lot of things that go into it. We have not covered in this series all the things that need to be covered in order to make the leap. I say that just not for your frustration, but that so you'll know, hey, there is so much to learn. There is so much to grasp. I don't want you to ever get stuck behind a mentality that says I can't get there, and that because I did the one thing they said and it still didn't help, because it's complicated. We trust that you can figure it out. If we can be a part of figuring it out, you can be a part of figuring it out. But we want to be able to walk through this and what it looks like. So today, what needs to be eliminated? A more robust understanding of what needs to be eliminated than simply do what only you can do. And so, V, I want to talk through 3 categories. When I finish each category, feel free to stop me in whatever's there. Anything you want to comment on, I'll throw it back to you, okay?
Sounds good to me.
So first thing, in terms of get rid of authority. Get rid of authority. If you want to make the leap and lead at a higher level, you need to get rid of authority. Not tasks, but authority. Decision-making power. The ability for someone to say, here is the bullseye you need to hit. Change things within these parameters. That's kind of an important piece, because it's not a change whatever you need to change in order to get there. There's lanes that we need to run in. But you need to give away that authority, that clear level of decision-making power for people to do what they need to do. Craig Rochelle famously said it like this: as soon as someone can do something 80% as well as you can do it, you need to hand it to them so that you can go do something else. 80%. The point, there will always be a drop in quality when you hand things off at first. But over time, that quality will increase because they're able to be more focused on it than you ever were. So the kind of hinge point for that baton pass in this relay race is 80%. An easier way to grasp it, maybe functional, not just authority, is you're giving away control. Maybe that's the most helpful way that I can say this, is to say you're not just giving away authority, you're giving away control. Because when you give away that control over the process, you have already clearly defined the outcome, because you're a good leader and you didn't just say, go do this. You've defined what it needs to look like at the end of the day. But then you give away control over the process and the means with which they use to pursue that outcome.
And Rochelle's even gone down to 70.
Yeah, he keeps dropping.
Which is always funny, right? But the point is still the same. right? That they're not going to do it exactly like you do, but they're going to do it to the point of which they will get better over time. The thing that I would ask you on that one, just to clarify, is when you say get rid of authority, you're pointing people to the outcome. This is the outcome we expect, and you're not taking control of the how. You're releasing the control of how.
Yes.
You there. So they don't get to determine the outcome. They get to determine how they create the outcome.
Yep, good rephrase.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like that. Second thing, okay, 3 things you need to get rid of. Second thing you need to get rid of is you need to get rid of accessibility. If you're going to make a level jump, you need to get rid of accessibility. Now, I want to be really cautious on this because some of you already logged off because you don't like this idea, because you don't like it about the leader who is leading you in this moment. But I want to be really clear on what's happening. The reason as a leader why you need to get rid of accessibility is you get rid of accessibility so you can be more proactive and initiate your time instead of being responsive. You're not getting rid of accessibility so you can sit around and do nothing. You're getting rid of accessibility so you're not in defense all the time, because as you level up in leadership, you should be playing more offense with your time and initiating your time. Now, this is the most important thing I could say on this. You release accessibility as it is necessary, not as it is desired. And this is so important because, if you're going to lead at a large organization, you cannot be accessible to absolutely everyone.
Nope.
But if you're going to lead at a very small organization right now, I don't mean your desire in the future, but where you currently are, you need to be accessible. And what I continuously see is I see people who have high ambitions. I would even say it as selfish ambitions for their leadership impact, and not care for the people that they're leading and care for the mission, that they want to become as inaccessible as possible early on. And I just want to say, that's just wrong. Not only is it unhealthy and unhelpful, it's actually wrong because it shows you care far more about your status than you do the people who are on your team and how you're leading them well. You release accessibility because it is actually the best thing for your team and for the organization to move forward. Not because you want to be up in your ivory tower doing whatever you want to do, insulated from all the problems. I like that phrase, ivory tower.
Ivory tower.
Just to be clear.
Real quick on this one. First of all, are you using accessibility and availability differently?
No.
Okay, so it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's helpful for anyone listening. And then the other part of that is you've said you need to know what rooms you need to be in and what not, and that can include groups or individuals.
Yeah.
You need to know, and you've said that multiple times. There's multiple episodes we've done on that, and that's basically what you're talking about.
And I would say this, I think this is maybe an important other nuance in this, is to go, I can be absent and still accessible.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in the meeting and in the room because I'm releasing authority.
Right.
But I'm still accessible if I'm needed. I'm still accessible relationally.
Gotcha.
I'm available. You can't do this second one until you've done the first one.
That's good.
If you're trying to become inaccessible, but you're still holding on to all the control, this is a disaster waiting to happen.
That's really good.
The piece of accessibility can only happen as you get rid of authority.
Good note.
Now, the most important one, okay? Well, and this is the one that everybody misses, and it may not make the biggest difference. To me, this is the difference between healthy leadership and unhealthy leadership. The original, which we don't say it enough, this is poor cultural values within the Leading Hope podcast, is so here we go, self-incrimination on it. Is the idea was to say your leadership is going to have an impact. If you're leading, your influence is going to have an impact. You can either lead people towards hope or towards despair. We want to help you lead them towards hope.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the idea why we started this, of healthy leadership, healthy, effective leadership. Now, you can increase your influence and increase your impact and not do this last one. You can become completely inaccessible from everyone and get rid of all control and authority, and things will happen. But I think this is the one that matters most, that really is the mark of how healthy, how good in terms of quality of a leader you are. And that is, you have to get rid of credit. You have to get rid of the applause. If you're going to level up It is not just your accessibility that needs to go away some. It is not just the control that needs to go into the proper channels so that those who are best positioned to make those decisions can make those decisions. But you have to get rid of the credit along the way. If you want to build a great organization and not a cult of personality, you have to get rid of credit. And so it becomes this question: who are the heroes? Who are the people that are continuously celebrated? Who are the people that are lifted up? Then when we go, we did what we did because of this person or these people. And if it's all within that CEO, president, senior pastor, whatever that is position, that's not a good thing. And I wholeheartedly believe that that needs to be, the credit for what is happening needs to be driven, not just control, not just authority. The credit needs to be driven as deep into the organization as it possibly can. So a couple of years ago, I had a conversation with a guy who was going to our church, and he saw this thing that a staff member had done. It was incredible. And seriously, they had a project. They did a great job. It looked fantastic. It communicated values. It was incredible. And they said, you should celebrate this from the stage. I said, I won't. They said, why on earth won't you? And it was I kind of had a lead in, I'll be honest with you. Like I kind of knew where I said, I won't. Why won't you? I said, because in our organization, it is the person who serves regularly who doesn't get a paycheck who's the hero. And if I start celebrating the people who get a paycheck, then everybody wants to be the person who gets a paycheck. And that is not where the credit needs to lie.
Yeah.
Because we are already thanked. I'm not saying I never thank our team. I'm not saying I never thank people who get a paycheck. But I'm saying publicly, like that is not where I'm going to let the credit lie. I want to drive it deeper than that.
Right.
And so I can't celebrate this. Because if I celebrate this, all of a sudden I change that and I let that credit, that celebration move upward.
That's good.
And I'm unwilling to do that. And I just think it's this piece, like this one more than all of them. People will talk about you need to reduce your accessibility. People will talk about you need to reduce your control. You need to drive that authority deeper. I don't hear anyone talking about saying quit celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
If I could say like, I don't know how to say this and it doesn't sound egotistical. Okay.
Just say it.
So this is like, I don't get thanked a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's some cultures where the pastor is held in super high honor.
Right.
And it's just like, it is constant celebration, constant thanks. I don't get thanked a lot.
Yeah.
And I want it that way. Like that is a mark of what I want to do as a leader.
Right.
Because I want people to be celebrating others. And that is worth it to me. And some people are like, they need that constant affirmation. They need that constant thanks. I want the impact.
This is good. This is good.
And I want the people who are in our church to know it is you who is moving it forward. And it can't be like both of us.
Right.
It needs to be you for you to be able to take hold of what God is doing.
Yeah, that's it's a super powerful note. Let's just start there for a second. To get rid of credit because of that culture that you're not being thanked on the daily or the weekly individually for the things that you've either started or put forward or started in motion. It has created 672 or whatever we're at volunteers.
Yeah.
Right. If you were being thanked by people every week for this or that, they would now expect you to continue to be in a paid position to do all the things that a nonprofit organization cannot do on its own. It needs an engine of people who are collectively moving in the same direction. And so because of that, getting rid of the credit has driven a volunteer culture.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I can pay somebody to do it, whatever it is, right, then I don't have to.
Yep.
It's the same reason. Well, I'm not going to go there. But there's a number of things that.
No, absolutely.
And that's what that does, and we don't see that. Like, no, I created it. I should get it.
Yeah.
You know, good job, buddy. But that's not what the point is. You create it so other people can take it.
And I would say it is like there is this like I am aware. This is going to sound bad as well, but whatever. I am aware of the things that I've created that people had no idea my role in the process and I got no credit for. I'm aware.
Right.
But I don't care.
No.
Like I've chosen not to make that. And I think the thing that might happen is somebody's trying to reduce accessibility without getting rid of authority. and no one will take that authority because they haven't gotten rid of the credit as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
And like these things
They're very
work together.
tied.
I want you to see like it is really important. The order is there is a definitive order to what you need to get rid of. Get rid of credit first. Then you can start pushing authority out to others, and then you'll reduce accessibility.
You just discovered that, didn't you? No, I'm just the order that they're in.
No, I knew that.
I know. I'm joking.
But I see people run the opposite order.
Yeah.
They try to reduce accessibility
Yes.
and then remove authority and then still hold on to the credit, and they wonder why it's a disaster.
that's it.
And they go, no, there's an order. Credit, then authority, then accessibility.
Yeah, and the church is uniquely positioned to easily give away credit.
Yes.
For obvious reasons.
My goodness,
Like
yes.
why are we holding on to what God has gifted us?
Yeah.
Like, well, it's not ours. I mean, we say it all the time. The glory goes to God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope we believe it when we say it. Like, the glory doesn't go to VJ for anything. I'd get no glory from it. There's nothing. Do I get to be blessed by it? Difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the glory is not mine. The credit is not mine. I don't, the ideas and thoughts that come into my head were given to me somehow.
Yeah.
God's always present in doing those things. So that's the power in it.
And if I could, like, coming out of a situation where we went through a recent transition from Be Hope Church, which is still sad and hard and all those other things, but as we're walking out of that piece to say, the most common response that I heard from people is, "We're sad to see you go, but we're excited to see what God is doing in your life and here."
Yes.
If I would have held on to credit, that second part wouldn't have happened.
Nope.
We're sad to see you go, and we're excited to see what God's doing in your life. But clearly, our best days are behind us.
Yeah.
But and that's not an accident. Like, to understand that, like, and it's not like, hear me clearly. I'm not lying
Right.
when I'm saying the credit doesn't belong with me. Like, I set it up to empower it, but that's it.
Right.
Like, then it lived in the lives of the people who took hold of it, who committed their ideas and resources and energy and relationship capital and financial capital to actually make it function. Credit rightly resides with them, not me. And so it's not like you need to push out credit and it's a lie. It's true.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
But when you push it out, it's so much better in the long run and in the short run.
That's so powerful. We've got a few minutes left, and I want to so we've talked about all the things. I mean, obviously, getting rid of credit, top of the list. Get rid of the accessibility and getting rid of authority. Here's the question. Once as a leader has actually done these three things successfully,
Okay.
what can they expect to happen?
What can they expect to happen? When they're in that spot.
Now, in the good, on the other side of it. Now, it takes a lot to get there, right? Like,
Yeah.
You've got to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
But once you've done it, what can they expect to cease to start happening in their organization? What can they expect to see that's different than where they're at now? What can they look forward to that's going to be something that they are excited about?
Yeah. First off is you have time to do new things.
Yes.
And you go, well, I don't even know what to do. Well, the reason why you don't know what to do is because you don't have the time to picture what you need to do.
Yes.
And then people are like, why would I pass it off? To do what? I promise you'll figure it out.
Yes.
There's stuff that's there for you to figure it out. The other thing is the massive benefit is you build something that lasts.
Yeah.
You build something that lasts beyond yourself. Like, I don't know anyone who is sane who as a leader says, I want it to crumble and fail when I go. Like, that is not the goal.
Right.
That's not the desire in any way. And you get to watch it last and live beyond you, which is, man, all the reward that you could need.
And I think that's so powerful because I know that there's times in my life when I haven't given up some of these things, right, that I'm holding on to one or two of these things. And I wonder why my mind doesn't have the ability to comprehend things outside of what I'm dealing with day to day, week to week, right? Sunday's always coming thing. But once you start doing this, all of a sudden you have now opened up possibilities that God can give you to work on that you never had the ability or the time to do before.
It's good.
It's credible.
Oh,
it's
that's
an
good,
incredible thing. That's it. Let's wrap this up. 126.
Get rid of it. If you're going to level up in your leadership, you need to get rid of authority, accessibility, and credit, but in a different order. You need to get rid of credit and then authority and then accessibility.
Oh, such a fun episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're new to the podcast or haven't yet subscribed, it means the world to us. If you did that right now. Also, post about it. Rate and review on Apple Podcast. You won't believe a few extra minutes will help us get this podcast in many more leaders' hands, just like yours. Share it with your teams as well. And we love hearing your stories of how the podcast is working in your life or business or both. If you have a story, visit leadinghope.online and send that to us. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, everyone has 20 minutes to learn to become a better leader. Make it count.